Hey, welcome everybody to the live stream. I haven't been on the stream in about 2 months now, but it's time for me to have a conversation with the community. We have a lot of subscribers that have come onto the channel. Appreciate you guys coming on, supporting the content, and coming on every day. But I haven't really been doing live streams because most of the time I'm just doing videos and you know, doing my own thing. But sometimes you got to come in and talk live with the community and just really chat back and forth. So questions and answer session that's live. But I brought up this topic today for a reason. Most men see red flags but ignore them in hopes of maintaining access. Well, I should say gaining access. And I put programmed to failed because a lot of times I don't know whether it's out of the, it can be a scarcity environment or just in general, just the social programming, the belief system that if they just tolerate and withstand all kinds of goofiness, things will get better. And many of them are afraid to use that access, but it always ends up worse. So we're going to get into that topic today. And I saw an interesting video came across my feed on my channel. What's going on, my brother? First comment to come in. Bill Fire, for Christ. Salute to you, my brother. Welcome in. Oh, Les Hughes. What's up, brother? It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've seen you, man. Yeah, I hardly do these streams anymore, but we've had so many people come on the channel. I said, let me pop in for a live stream today. Probably start bringing the streams back more, having more conversation back and forth, and a lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about. I know. Hopefully, you guys have been traveling, been enjoying family. Hey, salute to you, my brother. How you doing, man? So we got eight in the chat. Guys, make sure you hit the like button on your way in. Tim Hurway, that's your name, brother. Yeah. Start bringing more live streams back. Guys, make sure you your brother said, I just got off. Should married men be treated as combat veterans video? You know what's so crazy is that video just popped into my head. You know what I mean? Because I was just like getting my coffee this morning and I just saw something. I was like, man, brutal. The situation is absolutely brutal, man, when I saw it. And I kind of felt bad for the guy because he was just coming out of the store and he was just basically getting rained. And that's what's so crazy about it, man. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I get in here. There we go. And like I said, I saw this video that came across my feed because there's so many guys nowadays that put out content for the men. And salute to this content creator. This name makes random videos. Obviously, you can see this as an older guy. Let me go ahead and open that up and make a wider screen. Let me get the links to this man's channel. Hold on one second. Make sure I show some respect to the content creator. So here's the links to the video. And it's called Making Random Videos. Obviously, this is an older guy. He's got his projects in the back. Salute to him. This guy's laughing. Yeah. This is the guy's channel right here. I think it's called Making Random Videos. And, there used to be a time when guys like this, and salute to you, man. I'm definitely, man, you know. Hey guys, make sure you hit the like button too, man. Yeah. Yeah, this guy right here, he made this video. Let me get rid of all this. It's called Marriage is a Scam, My Horror Story and My Success, if you want to call it that. And again, oftentimes we as men, we've been programmed to ignore certain things in life, especially red flags. And you could hear his story, but let me let him get into the detail. Let's give him the credit. Salute to him for putting this out here because, like I said, back in the day, we didn't really have access to men sharing their lives and sharing information back and forth. So we relied heavily upon many times the men in our family, the men around us, and many of them didn't really tell us or give the details or the truth about their experiences. And many times the truth was hidden from us as children growing up, and we didn't understand what men were going through. Fast forward 2026, the internet, and it's been years, and the system has gotten so bad, especially with the legal system and the court system, that men are finally opening up and saying exactly what the experiences are. And now with YouTube and the internet and social media, men can share their experiences. And what's been happening is that there's been too many men saying the same thing. And when there's one guy saying something, he's probably just a whatever. But when there's multiple guys saying the same thing, it's terrible. Well, so let's let him say his story real quick. Salute to him for sharing.
I'm just going to talk to you guys about something that happened to me a long time ago. And the story isn't very good. I'll just be honest with you guys. If you're thinking about getting married, really, I'm going to tell you, or you've been married or you're married now, and a few things like that. We're going to talk about that. Probably if I ever got divorced now, I probably would never get married again. Never. But I've been married to the same woman for 25 years. My first marriage was 8 years, and it was 8 years of complete hell. And at the end, a lot of people think, hey man, if you get out or whatever, it's not going to be that big a deal. You just go through divorce, and let me tell you, it's not. The court is not going to be in your favor. They're not. They favor to the women almost every time. In fact, they favor to the worst of two people. It's not always just the men that are good guys and the women are bad. Sometimes it's the opposite, but it's more often that it's the women, because women are emotional beings and they make decisions based on how they feel, and a lot of times they feel, I don't know, all kinds of different feelings when either you left them, or maybe they've got a new person and they leave you. And guess what? If they leave you, you're going to pay anyway. If they leave you and they have someone else in their life and they're sleeping in their bed and they're in their house, they can even collect alimony for doing that until you actually prove, that they have someone else. And even if they didn't get married in a lot of places, you're still paying alimony. Okay. And the other thing that they do is they use child support against you. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about a little bit of ways to protect yourself before you get married. And again, I probably wouldn't even be married now if my wife wasn't from another country, and I had to immigrate. We had to do immigration. So the only way to do that was to get married. And it's worked out decent till this point. It's worked out good. We haven't, we haven't divorced or anything. So, you know, we've been together 25 years. And so it is possible, you know, but it's not been easy. Let me tell you, the second marriage is way harder than the first. So let's get into this. Here's my story.
Salute to him, but oh man. So he say he's married again, but he would not do it. He would not do it again if he got divorced. But he only did it because of papers. I guess green cards. His wife's from another country. Fascinating, fascinating. You know, and let's let him continue. Let's let him continue.
My first wife, you know, I wasn't quite sure on the whole situation. She manipulated me a lot. And I ended up marrying her. And then after, you know, a few years, I realized that there's just no way I could do this for the rest of my life because, you know, I took on someone who had, and this was my fault, okay, but I still had to pay. Okay, I had to pay anyway. I took on somebody that had a mental illness, and I wasn't really aware of that when it was going on. I was in denial of it. Okay, so being in denial is not a good thing. So, you know, she was just super hard to deal with. She was just one of those people. She had something called borderline personality disorder, and she, you know, right after we got married, I said, listen, you know, let's, you know, I thought it was her environment that she was in.
Let me just say something real quick, and it's something that I get on these dating and relationship guys now, and these pickup artists, is about not vetting for mental disorders because what's happening now, especially in this area of social media and with the society, there's been a lot of deterioration of people's mental health, especially women. And they don't talk about that stuff because all they talk about is teaching men how to get box. Well, what if you got it in some crazy box? That's the problem. Hey, salute to Bill Fire for Christ. Sorry about that, but he's a thanks for what you do, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting the channel, man. Salute to everybody that's in here now in the chat supporting the channel. But that's what I have a problem with. A lot of these guys that teach this pickup game is they're not teaching men the true reality that we're dealing with a lot of mental illness, especially with the narcissism, the bipolar disorder, and so many different problems that are currently existing in this society. We've had so many years of no accountability. We've had the sexual revolution that happened back in the 60s and 70s. We've had so many years of people not accounting for the trauma that comes with liberation and the mental health issues that come with it. And when guys are getting on to certain things that have some damaged goods, man, really. So I appreciate your support for the channel, man. He said, you do a dedicated video. How bad? Let me let him continue on, guys. But again, appreciate your support, Bill Fire for Christ. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Appreciate everybody that's so important to the channel. Let's continue on.
She was in a real weird situation where she was living, and I thought, well, if we get married, we're together, you know, probably should have just, you know, because I was in the church and stuff, and I was like, well, you know, this is not the, you know, we should get married. It's the right thing to do, you know, and all that. But really, if you're going to get married, it doesn't need to be a legal marriage. It can be married in front of God. If you don't want to go to do a legal marriage, then you can do that, you know. So there's other options, guys. So we decided to get legally married. Bad decision, okay? And it literally cost me 18 years of my life, okay? So making that decision was just bad, Okay. 18 years of loss for it. Okay. First 8 years being married to her, then 10 more years of child support, alimony, aggravation, problem with the kids, going back and forth. It's even continuing today. So that one mistake cost me most of my life, and I'm 60 years old. I mean, it's really kind of minor at this point, but it's still there. There's issues still now, but most of those things are pretty well, subsided. And they're not as prevalent as they were, 10 years after getting married. So I say like 18 years of absolute loss. So like one of the things that we had agreed upon before we got married was wait a couple of years before we had kids. And right after we got married, literally days or weeks after we got married, I said, well, she goes, well, I think I'm pregnant. I'm like, well, how could you be pregnant? You're on the pill. She says, no, I stopped taking the pill 3 months ago. I was like, well, thanks for telling me that. I thought we were going to wait 2 years because to make sure things are good, make sure we have a relationship figured out and all that stuff. No, she wanted to put the hooks in, man. And so she was not even pregnant yet, even though she said she was. Okay. 2 or 3 months later, she's, God damn, these women are always horny when they're pregnant. I didn't know what the heck, and found out that she actually got pregnant a couple months later because my health insurance figured that out because I told them she was pregnant and they're like, oh, we can't cover you. Then they go, oh, we can cover you. So yeah, I figured that out later, counting the months and stuff. I mean, I was too overwhelmed to even do that at the time. Just too many things to deal with. I was trying to grow up and learn how to live and how to work and keep a job and pay a house payment that wasn't an adjustable mortgage, all this crap, So life was very tough right then. So we ended up having one kid, and then I really felt like that things were not doing well, and I was still like, kind of thinking, man, this isn't, I don't know if I can handle this, for this longer. And so I went, well, I have one kid, and it's just going to be weird for one kid to go through this, bounced around with her in the way that she was. And so the stupidest.
This dude doubles down. He doubles down. It's already jacked up. He has one kid. He doubles down. Go ahead, buddy.
Decision again was to have a second one. And, but, in some ways I felt like I really needed to do that for the first kid that I had. So, about 8 years in, I heard that at 10 years, they can get child or spousal support forever. And I was like, if I'm going to make a move, I better make it now. And I realized that there's just no way. I had to sit down with myself and just realize there is no possible way that I can go the rest of my life with this woman. There's just no way. She was just too difficult to deal with. It was every time you came home, you never knew what you were dealing with. You didn't know what was coming. You come home one day and she was one way, the next day she's something completely else. Whatever was on Oprah that day, that's what I was, whatever it was back in the day. Okay. So after 8 years of that, I just decided that I was going to end it, and it doesn't usually happen this way. Usually somebody has an affair or something like that. Mine didn't happen that way. But, I just realized it was done. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't be with her. So I left her. And of course, then, how it is.
Wow.
They want, she was putting hooks in me in the beginning. She wanted money for the rest of her life from me. And so this happens. She doesn't even need to be mentally ill. Okay, guys, this happens. I know way more people now that have had the same situation happen to them. And they didn't even have a crazy person. Okay, not that crazy, and they had to pay forever. A woman that they got married to went out and cheated on them, and then they got to pay a payment to them for the rest of their life. And that's just the way it works, guys. You know, the laws and the courts are not favorable to divorce. Okay. And they're not favorable to men. Okay. It's just not fair. It doesn't work out. It doesn't mean that you should never, ever get married. But I'm going to tell you that it is a super, super, super important decision. And if you're going to do it, you better, a couple of pieces of advice. All right. If you're going to do it, I would only do it with some sort of prenuptial agreement. That's the only way I'd ever marry anyone. And that would be, and at my point in life, if something happened between me and my wife, I don't think I ever would. I would not get married. I would just choose not to. Okay. You know, and it's hard because you go, well, you really want to be, you know, have a companion and stuff like that. And a woman's a great companion. And it's, you know, and there's other things that are great, you know, the sex and all that sometimes can be great, but a lot of guys, that's gone after a couple of years. And with my wife I have now, it was on for a long time. Okay. A long, long time. And then, you know, what happens, you get older, you get sick, you have stuff like that. And so you have to love that person beyond that. Okay. And you have to be companions with them even when they're really, really not doing very well, and stay, you know, stay focused and stay with them. So it's tough, you know, and then they do the same for you. Hopefully they may, but they may not. There's no guarantee that she's just not just going to run out and just decide to find someone else when things get tough for you. And then on top of that, you can go out and have things get tough for you or whatever, and she goes out and cheats on you, and you still have to pay her. You still have to give her the alimony. You know, my first wife chose not to work, and luckily I got divorced before the 10-year mark in my state where I live, and it's different everywhere you go. And you also have to be careful today in common law areas. Let's say you decide not to get married, but you live with them for 5 years. In some places, it's the same as if you're married. So all of a sudden, after 5 years, you guys have shared assets, and you didn't even know it. You didn't even agree to it. You didn't even have it in writing, you know. So one of the things I would suggest again is to get some sort of prenuptial agreement.
I think the stats is like I think like 84% of people get remarried in the first, I think 3 or 4 years after getting divorced. So a lot of guys, they're not comfortable being alone, especially if they've been married for a little while and they go out and seek maybe that comfort, or they get into a situation where they get ultimatums where they don't want to lose access to that woman, or they think if they don't marry her, some other guy is going to come and snatch her up and marry her up. So they have a mentality more so scarcity. So they feel like they have to get back into it, or a woman pressures them into it, and they get back into a marriage. That's what happens in the first 3 or 4 years. I think that's the hardest part for most men to get over. And then there's the programming factor. And that's, the social programming, the systems programming. And a lot of men are not comfortable going against the system. They want to have access. And it's a mind game. That's what it ends up being. So he finally, I guess the situation got so bad that he left out of his situation and got a divorce. And a lot of guys stick with it. But again, he got remarried. Again, probably when I see a lot of guys, it happens in the first few years. And what ends up happening is that what a lot of guys do is they end up rationalizing a lot of behaviors, out of scarcity. Maybe they get hooked on the access. And they get very possessive about certain things with women, and they're not thinking rationally and logically long term. And a lot of guys don't. That's why I talked about on this channel is that people can teach you all of the dating and relationship information they can, and all of these red pill and whatever content is one thing. But when you're put in a situation where you have to show strength and discipline and have the strength and discipline to walk away, that's when things are really tested in the real world. And oftentimes, I hate to say this, but unless a man has had a certain level of experience or his self-esteem has been built a certain way, or he's had certain things, he's seen certain things or experienced certain things in his life, many times a lot of men feel like this is the best they're going to get. I got to hold on to this and not even looking at, look, maybe the choice sometimes is none of the above. None of the above may be the choice that you may have to take. So a lot of guys are just operating out of a lot of desperation, a lot of scarcity. And like, there's like, I got to hold on to this. I guess I'm going to have to put all my assets on the line and risk it. So you got to go inside the head of the mental space of how they're thinking and how they're viewing the world to see how they think, to understand why they do what they do. Because to us, well, to some people, it doesn't make any logical sense. But just like when I see these videos of these guys that are going overseas to places like Thailand and all these other places, and you wonder why they act or behave in such a way, it's purely on a psychological manipulation, on a psychological level of that feeling of purpose or that feeling of, I mean, and those women are pretty good at knowing that the void, filling in the void for which those guys feel they're lacking, because men have this desperate need to be valued and to have meaning to their life and purpose to their life. Even for a man who's Captain Save-A-Ho or rescue guy, you know, that's purpose to his life, meaning to his life, even though he's getting fleeced. It's crazy, man, to think the mindset. Even though he's getting the raw end of the deal, he feels a sense of value to his life. Because again, he's been socialized to believe that an only way for his measure of a man or his value is that having a woman, his value is having a woman. You know, like some guy will come here in my comment section and say, well, it's just a sign of maturity to have a wife and to have a woman in your life. So then you're a bitch-led man. So the only time you mature or you see value in your life is through women. You know, even worse, the guy could be like, oh, well, if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be this. So without your wife, you're nothing. You're still a bitch-led man. And when I tell the guy that he's bitch-led, they get mad and angry because you're telling me that you're nothing and your life has no value unless you're being directed, unless a woman's a part of it, and you have no purpose. You're just like wandering into in the wilderness of lostness. And that's the crazy part about it. You know, but this guy is up for round number 2. But I mean, he's been in it for like 20-something years with the new wife. And well, that's what they try to say. That's what a lot of, especially these how would I put it? The religious conservatives. They're the ones who push that narrative a lot. So let's continue on.
And some of and I'll talk to you guys about some of the things that happen in relationships that cause a decline. Guys seem to think that when they're with their wife, oh, she only likes it missionary style, or they want to have this holier than thou wife that, oh, she wouldn't want to do that. I'm going to tell you, most women like good sex. All right. And if you're not giving it to her right, she's going somewhere else. It's just going to happen. And it's going to happen when you aren't, when she's better at it than you.
Here's what he's missing. What he's missing is she's already had it somewhere else better than you. She's not missing Well, she misses it, but she's already had it before. And I was thinking about something, right? And these guys think that these women are, remember, marriage today is the last stop on the sexual liberation rail lines. And a lot of these guys think that these women are coming to the table. And I was laughing, right? Because again, a lot of it is game in terms of I found it interesting, right? Hold on one second. I saw this clip. Let me share the screen. Which is funny because a lot of guys think that they're getting women. I want you guys to listen to this, okay? Now, a lot of guys, they're listening to what, if you listen carefully to what these women say, they'll tell on themselves. So this guy thinks that these women come to the table heavily pounded, heavily experienced. You're not getting anything new. You're crazy. A man is absolutely delusional if he thinks he's getting something new and fresh in 2026, unless he lives in some type of cult or something. And that's the only way it's happening. So even the women themselves who are out here don't believe they're out here, and they'll even gaslight themselves. And I saw this video came up from the Kendra G shit. So I think CJ Slater, one of the content creators, put this up. Salute to him. I want you to hear her logic and hear her reasoning of how she double talks. Let's hit this play.
I just had to share this. Y'all got to check. I saw this clip from the Kendra G show, and I just had to share this. Y'all got to check this out. We'll come back and talk about it.
And you say you want, and you've never in your whole life been in a relationship?
No. I don't date too much. I be in the house. I'm a homebody. I don't go out much. I go out and I have me time. I don't date, like, oh, I'm dating him and we just not in a relationship. I'm dating him. No.
Now, hold on right here. I'm gonna let this play all the way out. She said, now guys, she said she doesn't date and she doesn't be in a relationship and she's a homebody. Okay, she's trying to sell this product, right? It's highly pounded out product. She doesn't date, she's never been in a relationship, and she's a homebody. Let's continue on. I'll let the full clip play. You guys can sample what I'm talking about. 1 second.
I saw this clip from the Kendra G show, and I just had to share this. Y'all got to check this out. We'll come back and talk about it.
And you say you want, and you've never in your whole life been in a relationship?
No. I don't date too much. I be in the house. I'm a homebody. I don't go out much. I go out and I have me time. I don't date, like, oh, I'm dating him and we just not in a relationship. I'm dating him. No, it's not like that. I don't really date too often.
Well, you just said you had sex 4 weeks ago, so y'all didn't date?
Oh, that was different.
I guess we are dating. Most recently. I'm just saying in the past.
You
Leading up to now. But him, yeah, I would say we're dating, yes.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar.
Yes.
But not exclusively. So he could date other people.
Yes, he can date other people. I can date other people. Yes.
That's because you're not dating. You are a jump off, ma'am. Just call it what it is. Stop trying to sugarcoat it. I'm willing to bet that man doesn't even know your last name. If somebody approached him and gave him your full name, he wouldn't know who the hell they were talking about.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you get married, do you want a committed sexual relationship or would it be open?
Oh, no. Oh, it would be committed.
It would be committed.
Yes.
Okay. So this guy you're dating right now, you would never want to marry him.
I mean, he's a potential, but I don't feel like he is. Right now, we are on a leave. I took a leave of absence. I don't feel like he knows what he wants in his life, so I had to take a leave of absence. I gave him a date, and I extended that date a little bit, a month or two.
So for the people who are not clear about what she just said, she basically said the guy that she said she wasn't dating, but then later said she was dating, she wants a relationship from him, but he only wants booty from her. And she must really like this guy because she said she took a break from him. She didn't leave him. She took a break from him because she's hoping he's going to change his mind. She said he didn't know what he wants.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
And that was a lie. He knows what he wants. It's just not her.
So what my question would be, what is the husband that her new serious relationship and possibly the husband going to get that the guy that pounded her out 4 weeks ago did not? What is the new guy going to get? And the other guy, what is he getting? What is he getting that the guy that she's messing with for 4 weeks ago did not get? But according to her, of course, she's going to be in church and going for a sucker. So it's like crazy, right? Let's continue on, man. It's fascinating, her logic. Salute to CJ Slater for this, man.
So she tried to give him an ultimatum to make him change his mind. That didn't work, so she extended it because apparently she really likes this guy, hoping that by giving him more time, he's going to change his mind. None of that has worked, so now she's on Kendra G show looking for a new man.
But I said, hey, I don't feel like you know what you want. If you want something else, that's fine. I have no problem with it.
Yes, you do.
Go with it. I'm open. Go with it. But you can't deal with me anymore. Now we kind of in this limbo.
This is being in limbo. She's in delusion because he don't want you, man.
So,
And that's kind of like what you've been doing your whole life. It's like you make this is what it sounds like to me. Y'all have intimacy, and then you create boundaries after the intimacy. And if they don't adhere to the boundaries after the intimacy, you move on to the next. But
Why is that funny? That is really stupid. That is a really dumb way to move throughout this dating world.
what I'm suggesting is you should have those boundaries before intimacy, because that's why you're 38 and have never had a relationship.
She's 38 talking like this. I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe she got time to grow up. She's 38. You know what? Never mind. Let's just keep going.
Because what happens is you're willing to have a good time, share your body, and you're grown, so you can do as you met, right? So this is not judgment. But
you know what's so funny, man? I was watching this clip from China, and you know how China's marriage market works, Chengdu Province and all these other places, and how they work with their marriages. And women over a certain age, 25 years old, is considered Shengyu. I think in Japan they call them, or Korea they call them birthday cake, or Christmas cake, or whatever else. And a 38-year-old woman in China, not only is she leftover, she's considered extreme leftover. And this one has been passed around quite a bit. I have no idea what she's going to offer a man in marriage. But it's only in Western culture that we have these strange ideas about older women. I think 35 is geriatric pregnancy. Salute to the ladies. I ain't hating on you. But a 38-year-old woman, in many instances, in many societies, would not even be eligible for marriage. She's aged out. And that's the difference between, it's crazy to think about how Western culture is completely upside down. And that's what happens a lot of time. You see these women when they finally move overseas and they realize that they're absolutely invisible overseas. You go overseas to certain places, especially in Asian countries or certain other countries where it's not propped up, where women are not being propped up by the government and the system. And these women don't understand that men are just people just walking by them like they're invisible. I mean, nobody's really interested in marrying 38-year-old women in these countries. They're just it's not. They're past their prime. 25 for Asian country is like Xinyu. So it's a crazy how this mentality and mindset. And she's advising her like she's a 21-year-old. It's absolutely upside down. Let's continue on. But her logic is like she's talking like she's a young girl.
That way it's not leading you to a relationship. Because after setting boundaries, after you give it up, he's like, well, no. You know, I'm not going to, or he never was going to rise to the occasion, doesn't feel the need to rise to the occasion. So if you desire a committed relationship which you have never had, maybe work backwards. Have boundaries before sex, and then see who was willing to commit with you.
He was just fine. I'm sorry.
And there we have it. I'm so happy you said it. I am so happy you said it. That's all I was trying to get
sorry.
Because only 5 men get these types of benefits. I'm happy you said it because I know what it is.
Yes.
I know that you are having sex with people you want to have sex with. They're probably attractive. They probably have money. They probably have swag.
Yes, they
so
have
you're breaking
money.
all these rules. They have money. They have swag. They're fine. But at some point in time, if you want a relationship, you're going to have to try to get these type of men out of your system or have them arise to your requirements before you speak with them. And
that woman is 38 years old. Come on, Kendra. See, what happens is crazy. Is this is Kendra's old too. They're all old. I'm old. Like, these are women would be considered senior citizens in other cultures. And she's talking to her like she's a 21-year-old. This is a 38-year-old woman. And I don't know how old Kendra is. She's probably old like me. And they're talking like they're young women. It baffles and blows my mind that old women are talking like young women. That's be like me and my old ass talking like I'm 25 years old. It doesn't make like who's marrying these women? By the time these women get to the point of marriage, they've had like, you know, how many relationships have they had? I mean, how many times have they been through the meat grinder? It's crazy. You know, he said, I'm looking at the comments over here. He said, after she can have the toy in AI. Absolutely. I mean, but I mean, I don't understand what you're going to get out of her. Oh, I mean, it's like trying to squeeze a lemon when all the juice has been taken out of it. What are you going to get out of this woman? She's 38 years old, never been married. I hear a dog barking in the background somewhere. What exactly is she marrying into or for? I mean, I don't know how many eggs is left. She may have frozen her eggs or something. What are you doing with a 38-year-old woman that's been through multiple relationships looking for her first marriage? God help us. Well, Kendra is terrible. He said, even Kendra's only advice is to lust manipulation. I have never come across a woman in this planet that says, work on your character. That word salad is, but Kendra's 1,000 years old too. And Kendra's frozen her eggs or something like that. I don't know what man, any man that impregnates Kendra should be arrested. That woman is old. Old women are not supposed to be getting pregnant. Madness. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree, especially in matriarchal culture. There's guys that will wife her up. All she has to do is find herself a good church, get that Bible out, and all she's got to do is tell a guy, you know, one of these guys that are just these jellyback simps, to be with me, I'm in a celibacy journey. I've been born again, and I want to live life the godly way, and to have access to be guy number 35, you're going to have to make me a righteous woman. And that's what she's going to tell him. Yeah, that's what they're doing, right? That's what they do. Use the church to get them what they want. And some fool, some jellyback, some desperate, she probably has a nice body. She probably has a nice body. She's already picked the guy that she wants. You know, she's already picked the guy that she wants. The guy that she wants, she has already decided upon. What she doesn't have is security and money in a long-term relationship. She doesn't have the security. She doesn't have a guy locked down with the state. But the guy that she wants, she's been with him hundreds of times, had sex with him hundreds of times. You know, he's just not ideal for a state contract, marriage, and provisions long term. But the guy who arouses her and who she wants, that decision is made long time ago. And that's why when these guys come in here with some of these cucks, they come in here talking to me, I'm like, you really don't know. You just don't know. He don't know. He thinks he got something special, you know. You know, they're not getting anything special, but they'll brag and act like they are. But in her mind, in her delusional state of mind, even Kendra is so delusional, you can't tell them nothing. I don't tell anybody anything. But you can't talk to them. You just listen to them, In your mind, you know, you're probably, if you sample that, you're probably going to be guy number 65, guy number 70, guy number 100. But in their mind, they don't see anything wrong with that. In fact, if you listen to them talk, they talk about sex. If you just listen, don't judge to women, they'll tell you their whole history. And you just say, oh, girl, you know, you just kind of play it off. Oh, wow. Funny, man. You were a chick back in the day. You just gassed them up. They'll tell you their whole history report, all the things they done, all the guys they slept with. They'll talk about it. And what they don't understand is they're setting their price point. They're setting their price point. Because you let that dude over there enjoy me. He didn't have to pay the price of marriage. All them dudes didn't have to pay the price of marriage, but you're going to have to pay the price of marriage. And that's with the price point that they're setting their price point. You got to let them talk. And a lot of guys don't let them talk. That's why I get furious with some of these panels trying to correct these women. Shame them for what? Let them speak. Let these women talk. In fact, they start talking about women, you know, smart back in the day. Now talk about sex. Let them talk about sex. Let them spill their guts. Talk about all their experiences, all the guys they slept with. Let them tell about all the bums, the losers, the derelicts, everybody. You want to hear it all. I say, wow, man, that guy was terrible, right? Yeah, I mean, you know, you were a victim. Let them spill their guts. Make them feel like victims. You want to get a history on them. That's how you do it. Don't judge them. Let them talk. Come on, let's go.
I agree.
And this is why men like this, ladies, I'm so happy we spent time with you. This is why these type of men do not commit, because they don't have to.
They don't have to.
There's no reason for a fine man with money to commit to women, because they're going to be able to get sex and what they want from a woman. And when you don't want them no more, there's another girl who's cute, beautiful,
Right,
that
but it
will
works
want
the same
him.
way. I'm that way as well. I don't have to commit either.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I don't have to
No,
put
it's
up
not
with
that
what
way
you're
for
giving.
you. That's not true. That's
Right.
not true, because you actually want a relationship. Now, you
Right,
want
but
a
I don't have to
relationship.
stay. That's the type of woman
You
I
don't
am.
have
I
to
don't
stay,
stay.
but you're not understanding. But what you're not understanding is you are still not getting what you want.
Right.
Like, I know that you think
I agree with you.
I think that you think you're running the game, but in actuality, sweetheart, the game is being run on you, because
Yeah,
you're 38
sometimes.
years old.
Yeah.
Well, if you're 38 years old and you have 2 children and you never
But
had
I
a
don't-
relationship, the game been getting run on you your whole life.
Wow. Not only is she 38 years old, she's a single mother of 2, and she's talking like this. She's moving like this. That's crazy. And the sad part is, I think she's a pretty girl. Now, I didn't see the Kendra cam, so I don't know what her body looks like, but I think she has a pretty face. And she spent all of her adult years being used and abused by men. And based on what she said in this video, the Chads and the Tyrone. Good looking men with money. That's what she said in the video. So she ignored all of the good dudes, all of these dudes who probably would have done right by her. She ignored all those and messed around with these dudes. And now she's on here talking about, I want something real. See, a lot of women, when they're younger, they do stuff like this. When you're in your 20s, they move like this. This is why I'm so amazed that she's 38 and she's still moving like this. She's still doing it. The one thing about me is I'm very understanding. If I met a chick and she was 38, 40 years old, and I found out when she was 21, 22, she moved like this, she dated the guys who looked good and had money, it wouldn't bother me as much because I know it was over 20 years ago. And most people mature, understand their mistakes, and don't make them anymore. They get smarter, they get wiser as they get older. She's doing the exact same thing as she was doing when she was 19. There is no difference. The only difference now is she has 2 kids. There are so many women out there who move like this and they don't understand why nothing works out. You keep chasing after the top dudes. Those dudes in a lot of situations don't want you. You are recreational use to that man. This is a great example of that. She came on here and made it seem like they were trying to figure things out, or if
She thinks just like a man. She operates just like a man in her mind. In her mind, they've been convinced through feminism that her sexual activity and whatever has the same consequences as a man. She thinks like a man and she operates like a man, but she's going to be a sad away. But she has 2 kids too. Oh man. And yes, there's some jellyback simp that will take the deal. I am not surprised anymore. I am not surprised anymore. Then he'll take the deal. There's some jellyback that will take the deal and then get mad when that dude that she used to pound years ago spins the block on her, the guy that she's really attracted to, oh, he's going to come over and hit that again once she secures that money. And that's the problem with these dudes. They don't get it. They think they're winning, but they're not winning, you know. And you can't really have a conversation based in logic with those individuals because, again, she doesn't see the problem, you know. She doesn't see the error in her ways and you know, and what's really going on. I'm sorry, guys. Let me get to these comments. Hey, guys, if you want to support the channel, you're welcome to put a super chat up there, support the content. You know, that also makes your comments stand out. And guys, make sure you hit the like button. So we're going to bring more of these lives. Get these lives. You got to support the channel, support the content. The lives will increase, you know, because it's got to be, you know, I appreciate my brother, Build Fire for Christ, with the $5 super chat. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate your support. But let's get into some of these comments. He said, I caught you live. My brother, what's going on, man? Sharif, Mustafa, Sharif, salute to you. Appreciate the support for the channel, man. We want to keep these lives going. You know what I mean? I got to pay for the StreamYard, folks. StreamYard ain't free. You have to pay monthly subscriptions. Subscription services. YouTube ain't free. I wish it was. But it's all good, though. It's all good. I appreciate you guys coming through and supporting. But we're going to get what happens a lot of times, I think, too, is that travel does help men, open men's eyes. And this is not just a Western thing. If you go to the East, you go to other cultures, especially ones that are very much transactional and pragmatic. And one of the cultures that stands out a lot to me is a place like China. Salute to my brother, man. My contribution to the truth. You ain't got to lie, Craig. I like that title, man. I like that. You ain't got to lie, Craig. Absolutely. You damn sure don't have to lie. You know, especially now. Well, depends on who you're talking to. You may not have to lie, but just be don't even participate in the conversation, depending on who you're talking to. But anyhow, appreciate the support for the channel, man. And like I said, appreciate all you guys coming through. But we got to move on. We got to talk about what a lot of times is that the exposure to what's going on outside of the realm for which we exist. And I like to go to China. And this is the China Observer, okay? And the effects of what feminism and a lot of things have done to society, especially with social media, And obviously, American entertainment, Hollywood movies, shows, social media, China got invested in trying to compete on the global scale in terms of sending more women to college and trying to create that system because women do a lot of spending. And in doing so, you have a lot of these women, especially in China, with basket weaving degrees, master's degrees, and whatever else, think that they're better than the men. And obviously, some level of hypergamy set in where they want a man of a certain status, but this focus on their career, it also takes time. And in China's culture, they look at things pragmatically from a birthing perspective of having children and building family. That's why they come up with this idea of Xingyu, or leftover women, women past 25, because they've figured out women, as they get past 25, 80% of their eggs are gone. From a biological perspective, it makes sense. So when they come up with these terms, leftover women, there's a biological motivation behind it, and it's based on producing kids and family. Nature does not care about your career, your job, or whatever you got going on in your personal life. Nature doesn't care about that. And then they became so delusional with the movies and the social media and the culture of Western culture being spread globally because of this. TikTok, Instagram, and all these things have spread the virus of Western culture globally. Let me get another super chat coming on here. Oh, you already got that. You already got you, my brother. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So salute to the brothers, the three brothers that have supported the stream. Peace and blessings to you. I appreciate your support. Let's carry on. If you guys want to support the stream, please do. More support, more streams. That's just the way, you know. So Chinese men are avoiding marriage. It's not just a Western thing. We keep focusing on the West. And I think there was a time period, and we have certain people that talk about, like you said, like Scott Galloway's, the people of this world, they make it an issue of men not living up, or even though there's some men that don't do the right thing in terms of their own personal development for themselves, men not measuring up, or men not making the money, or men not doing the things they need to do to be qualify themselves for whatever social programming they have for marriage and family or whatever. But it's gotten to the point now where the choices or being with a woman has become so insufferable. The women have become so insufferable and so one-sided and so entitled and so delusional in their expectations and their reasoning that even married, they're just too, in the minds of these men, it doesn't matter what money is. The question is about whether they're worthy. It's about protecting peace. They become so awful in their personalities and what they bring to a man's life that the idea of even thinking about marriage or living with them long term has become like, I'll take a pass. Again, there are no solutions. There's only trade-offs. And sometimes the choice for men is none of the above. And I think the Chinese men are making that choice, considering all the factors. Let's continue on. China Observer, salute to it.
一天能挣多少钱
？300-400块钱吧。
那你这一个月也得1万块，
那可不是了。
也够养活家庭了。
我没成家，一个人多潇洒，一生放荡不羁，爱自由。这就我座右铭：一人吃饱全家不饿，挣多少花多少，还能存。
那你这一个人生活能存多少钱了？兄弟？
几十个吧。我现在车子房子都有，还有存款，也没有房贷，没有车贷。人家不说了吧，婚姻就像围城，城里人想出来，城外人想进去。
那你想进去吗？
暂时没有这个考虑。
大哥，你这没有老婆，像你这个人问题都咋解决？
没事，咱按个摩受不了。
大哥，我听你这口才挺好，你都什么学历？
大学学历，南京财经大学的。
像你这刚开始跑外卖也怕丢人吗？
现在这个社会，只要有钱就是大哥。
大哥，多大年纪了？40了。在家几个孩子？你没孩子。那你觉得是一个人好还是结婚好？一个人好，想上哪去上哪去。人生要想开，开心20天，不开心的可不开心过好每一天呢。你一个人为啥还干这么重的活？我虽然没有媳妇，我还有父母，我还有父母要养，父母生我不易，他能养我小，我都能养他老。那咱可以干点那个体面的， 文化浅干不了。
那咱穿那么脏干工地，你怕人笑话不？
我为什么我看我又不偷我不抢，我凭我自己极力去赚钱，人家笑话我吗？
大哥，咱这么年轻，以后还打算再找一个吧？
以后还是有能力再找，有能力也不能找。我自己生活这么苦，不能再找一个跟我再去吃苦奋斗吧。
家里几个孩子？
没结婚。
我看大哥长得挺帅的，
现在是要的是这个嘛呢？帅没用。
大哥今年多大了
？35。干年组我还没找到媳妇了呢。
干年组找不着媳妇吗？
找那仨瓜俩枣我能。现在定个亲多少钱？还不得我那80万？要楼要车房呢，不好挣的这个钱。
那你看人家都结婚了，有孩子了，你羡慕人家吗？
家里的不，你羡慕也没打。
欠过女人的数吗？
还有，欠的多了，有的没成，有钱不就成了？
那你这赶明快到40了都，赶明还好找吗？
找到就找到，找不到拉倒。一个人多点儿，
你能想开？
哎，你必须得想开，怎么潇洒怎么过。
大哥，像你这一个人也有车贷房贷吗？
没有，咱不贷。
我的梦想就是娶媳妇，太多了我不要，太胖了我也不要。我现在就是不怕苦不怕累，好好挣钱。
今年多大了
61。
你这也谈过女朋友吗？
也谈过。
你牵过她的手吗？
没有。
那人家谈女朋友咋能不牵手啊？
脸皮薄，不好意思，脸上不抹了翘。这一次谁能不记得？
So when we look at other cultures and what other cultures, when you look at other cultures, we look at what's happening overseas. We discover that it's just not a Western thing. They focus on. We focus on Western culture. We see the Scott Galloways. We see all these people coming after the young men. But this is global. Populations are going down, especially in South Korea, China. Thailand's population is dying off. Many other places. So we don't look through, everybody looks, they don't look at things through American Western lens. You don't look at things from a global perspective that, you know, this is not, the young men's behavior in America is no different than what's going on in China. And China is worse. They have this thing called laying flat. And they've had houses where 50 young men are living in these houses, abandoned houses and stuff like that, only working what's necessary just to survive and live. Because what was attractive years ago no longer exists in terms of what men want, you know. And you look at it. So these guys are just working, making their money, and living their lives. Working, making their money, living their lives. And this is China, right? So it's not just a Western thing that we have going on. He said, Scott Galloway gets on demand my damn nerves. Went to UCLA, was on the varsity rowing team or some shit. He needs to go ahead with his nonsense. Well, Scott, you know he's a plant for the system. But this is what Scott's not telling everybody. He thinks it's just unique to America. No. This is going on globally. Globally, men are dealing with insufferable situations, you know, and that's just the conversation that's not being had. But this topic was primarily talking about it's bad. I'm telling you, other countries is bad. I want you to listen to this, right? Let me show you how. Whoa, we got here. $10 super chat. Guess 3858 with a $10 super chat. Appreciate your support. There's a great solution being formed called males separatism, which seems to be the only plausible solution. I cannot link it here. Can I link it in the chat for you to read? Absolutely. Please definitely link it. I appreciate you supporting the channel. But I want people to see that this is a global situation. It's not just America and the West. And we keep our minds so closed. And we talk about global travel. and people getting around the world to see how the rest of the world lives, and examining things through the lenses of your own eyes and filtered through their own eyes. The world is changing. People are adapting. Some of the traditional things and mindsets of relationships have to change with the times. Women are different. Society is different, and that's what we don't understand. They want to hold men to certain mindsets of traditionalism, but that world is gone. This ain't your granddaddy's world anymore. When I hear people talk about traditions and cultures of the past, I'm like, what? That stuff is gone. You're talking about a world that no longer exists. And I don't, and like I give you an example.
You all should definitely get married early. Otherwise, you'll end up like me. I'm already 40 years old and still not married with children. It's really miserable. Older single women are really lowering their standards now. No house, no car, no bride price, not even gold jewelry. Some are even willing to give money to the man instead. I don't need those things either. If other women...
You see, in a non-competitive dating market like America, these women are extremely, maybe, rubbing it. But in China, in places overseas, this is just a basic chick walking around. You go to places like Thailand. I've been to places like Thailand and places like that. These are basic. When you take away that government empowerment, dudes is like, whatever, because the women have to compete. So there's a whole army of women that men are looking at, and they're thinking about their wallets. They're thinking about their costs, because life itself is cheap in these countries. The value of, when you don't take away all that government empowerment and all that crap with feminism and stuff like that, having a man is critical for survival and family and all these other things, because the government is not boosting them. So they took the pill in terms of modern, whatever, feminism. They didn't cash in when they were young and get married. So we're dealing with a cultural issue happening globally in terms of what economics, society, the cost of living, inflation, and just the value that men would get from a relationship. And these women are coming in older, more sexually liberated, looking for a husband in traditional lives. They're like, man, guys is like, nah, kick rocks with that. You didn't cash in when you were young.
And offer you 30,000 or 50,000 yuan, I can offer you 300,000 or even 500,000 more. I don't care if you're short, overweight, or not handsome. The only thing that matters is that I just want to get married.
In China, there are currently around 60 million single women of marriageable age. Many of them, especially those living in major cities, are highly educated, financially stable, and have higher standards for life and relationships than previous generations. For many years, the marriage market largely favored women. Men were expected to compete in order to be chosen. But as the economy begins to slow down, that balance is gradually starting to shift. Skyrocketing housing prices, stagnant incomes, and unstable employment have pushed more and more men to view marriage in a far more practical way. In major cities, getting married often means an entire family must pool together nearly all the savings of 2 generations just to afford an apartment. And that is before factoring in bride price traditions, car payments, raising children, education costs, and the burden of caring for aging parents. For many people, marriage no longer feels like the beginning of a better life, but the beginning of decades of financial pressure. As a result, many men are no longer willing to endlessly meet the expectations placed on them in relationships. Instead, some are choosing to step away from the marriage market entirely, or simply pursue a less stressful life on their own. And as more young people lose faith in marriage as a source of happiness or stability, what is changing is not just the relationship between men and women, but the way an entire generation sees its future. Why don't you get married? Maybe I'm selfish. I don't want to spend all the money I work hard for on marriage. So how much do you make per month? A little over 10,000 yuan. It's enough for me. I can eat what I want, travel wherever I want, and still save some money for my parents. Honestly, life feels pretty free.
Why don't men want to get married anymore?
Because most of us simply can't afford it. Let me do the math for you. Buying a house costs over 1 million yuan. Renovation is another 200,000. Furniture costs another 200,000. A car is about 200,000 too. Bride price and gold jewelry cost over 100,000. And the wedding banquet is another 100,000 or more. After adding everything up, I'd have to spend more than 2 million yuan. So why should I get married? Wouldn't marriage basically bankrupt me? And if I end up with a selfish, greedy woman, my whole life would be ruined. In the end, it'll probably still lead to divorce anyway. So it's better not to get married at all.
Now, I want you to listen to that stuff, right? Again, this is China, and this is what Scott Galloway is not talking about. And what's the difference between what he's saying and what many of these Gen Z young men are starting to realize? And they're seeing their fathers, they're seeing their grandfathers, they're seeing the men before them. And no matter how much you try to hit them with religion and shame and everything else, they're recognizing that the situations are just bad deals. From just even a business perspective and a non-emotional perspective, what's being asked of them and what they're receiving. And they're realizing that there's no return on investment. So this is a global perspective that's going on. Hey, what's up, my brother? Salute to you, man. Bro, just getting off work, man. This is some good information. I salute to you, man. So I just want them to look at things from a global perspective. It's the same thing that's happened. It's worse overseas because, like South Korea and Japan, we're looking at a possibility of population death. In Japan, they've had to close schools. In Thailand, it's bad. Population, I think the average, what is it per woman, per kid, is bad. I mean, it's just expensive, inflation, changing mindsets, changing attitudes. So a lot of the time, a lot of these governments are, it's like what it's like what? These dudes are like, nah, hell no. But if you allow the culture here to make it just about what's going on here in front of us, and we don't get to see beyond these shores and what's happening on the world and the global scale, and they think that these young men are not behaving logically to an environment themselves where they see there's a rigged game or it's unfair or the offerings that they're getting is like, what? No, hell no.
Tonight, I had a huge argument with my family. While we were having dinner, they brought up marriage again and said that since the end of the year is coming soon, they wanted to introduce me to someone for a blind date. She is 3 years younger than me and works at a supermarket. At that moment, I told them directly, I've already decided that I will never get married in my life. So please don't introduce anyone to me anymore and don't waste other people's time. My family immediately objected. They said that in 3 more years, I will be 40 years old. Even if I don't want children right now, that's fine. But if I don't even want to get married, then sooner or later, I will be seen as a strange person in other people's eyes. I also told them honestly that with my current ability, I can support myself. But when it comes to supporting an entire family, I truly don't think I'm capable enough. I'm not an irresponsible person, which is exactly why I don't dare to enter marriage so easily. Because I understand very clearly that if I'm not capable enough, then in the end, the one who gets hurt will not only be me, but also the person beside me. And beyond money, there are many other pressures as well. But I've always felt that if I'm not even sure I can give someone a stable and lasting life, then I should not bring another person into my life just because of age pressure or family expectations. Most importantly, I don't want to hurt others, but I also don't want to suffer myself. Whether to get married or not is a personal choice, right?
Have you noticed that more and more men around us are losing interest in marriage? It's not that they can't find a girlfriend. Many of them simply no longer want to enter marriage in the first place. I have 2 very real examples around me. One of my friends is over 30 years old and runs his own projects. His income is fairly stable. In the past, he went through several relationships and spent a lot of money while constantly dealing with emotional pressure and being tightly controlled in those relationships. In recent years, with the economy getting worse, He has already been carrying enough pressure in life, so he gradually lost faith in love and relationships. Now his favorite thing to do is go fishing and spend time alone in peace. He once told me, if marriage eventually leads to nothing but arguments and pressure, then I'd rather live freely on my own. The second person is an old middle school classmate of mine. He has been with his girlfriend for 7 or 8 years, and their relationship is actually very good. But he still says very clearly that he does not want to get married. It's not because he doesn't love her. He simply feels that marriage itself does not really hold that much meaning. A relationship's strength and stability are not determined by a marriage certificate alone. After getting married, both families start.
Well, that's just a little trip around Asia to see the how the other side's living, and again, a lot of my content, you know, it's really just to put men in the right mindset mentally for the culture that we live in currently today. Today is what we're talking about, not some made up vision or some delusion or some illusion of what the world really is. And I think that's what the main thing is, you know. And sometimes it comes across hard hitting or whatever else, but it's real out here. And what happens with a lot of dudes when they get into situations, regardless of what happens, it's all going to fall on that dude. And it's really not going to be anybody there that's really cares about what you say or what you think, you know. It's crazy how that works out. He said, seek financial independence and freedom will come. Yes, very true. And it has to be seeked for you as an individual with the goal in mind of self-preservation. And if you want to add somebody to it, great. But it has to be motivated by that individual's only desire for self-preservation. And whoever you add to that success, it's got to be an asset to what you got going on or part of the plan. And I think that's the critical thing for a lot of men. They add people to the process who are undeserving or don't add any value, you know, outside of what they offer between their legs. That's where the problem comes in. Second. Where we go right here. It's funny, YouTube is interesting, man. They're changing a lot on YouTube, especially with monetization. I think they're talking about changing the hours that people have to get for monetization. I think it's like going to be increased to a certain amount, you know. And not in this live stream. This is about something totally different. Just to get back into the streaming, to be honest with you. 8,000 watch hours. I think that's the number I think they're talking about now. So I don't think they changed the let me see, the new recommendation. I think it's like, let me see, YouTube. So subscriber count's going to remain at 1,000, but it's 8,000 watch hours. I think that's the change they do. 8,000 watch hours. Subscriber count is going to have to be 1,000 subscribers, 8,000 watch hours is like February 1st of 2027. I think that's when they're going to put that in. So you said increase before you start your channel. He said he imagined a room of 55 people in the stream has already got when you got there. Yeah, I think so too. You know, it's kind of rough for people. I guess they want serious content creators too. 8,000 watch hours is a stretch, but you know, I guess if you're making content over and over again, but what YouTube does do is push a lot of videos from new content creators that are not monetized, depend on whether they get caught up in the algorithm or they play the algorithm game. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think certain types of content, I mean, my content itself, you know, they'd be like, what's this guy talking about? They're not trying to, you know, I run a channel that's a male advisory channel. You know what I mean? Like it definitely deviates from the social programming of what they want to hear. You know, they want young men out here doing probably the opposite of what I'm talking about. So, you know, I don't know how long I will last on YouTube, you know, and many of the other content creators that have come before me, you know, with a different type of message. I mean, I guess, yeah. Hey, you know, I appreciate you watching, man, but you never know how, you know, with these types of channels, you know what I mean? That's why even I'm hesitant to take advertisers on the channel. I get emails all the time from advertisers wanting to advertise their product on the channel. And I'm like, nah, I'm just going to keep it the way it is. You know, original and organic, you know. Hey, welcome to the channel, man. You know, salute to you, man. Hey, monk mode is necessary many times to get that money right. You know. I think what it inevitably you got an issue with. I mean, marriage to a society is very critical and very important in terms of, you know, the kids, in terms of, you know, resources and money and spending and so on and so forth. You know, and if the young men themselves are not getting married, I think the issue is always going to be focused on the young men and their inadequacy. The conversation is always going to be centered around male inadequacy. These guys are not measuring up. These guys are losers. These guys are bums. You know, they're incels. They're broke or they're whatever else. It's always going to be a conversation that's always going to be blamed on the men and what men need to be and what men need to be better at. But they're never going to talk about the quality of the offerings for which men have to choose from. That's never going, you know, they're going to say, well, men are not this to get married, but they'll say, are these women that they're supposed to marry worthy of marriage? That conversation will never be had by Scott Galloway or any of these people, whether or not the women are worthy of what they want. That's a whole different conversation. And that's a conversation that's never going to happen. Not in this gynocentric gynocracies that we see here. But you know, I appreciate you guys coming through. I just want to get footing back into the live streams and start, you know, spending more time talking in the community. And I appreciate the guys that have supported the channel. And we're going to have more of these live streams coming through. I got to pick a day and a time when I can have these lives and different topics that we can really talk about, you know, because again, my thing is, I don't want men stuck in some state of red pitch rage or whatever else. I want men to actually enjoy life. He said, why can't you be like Etiquette? Because I'm free, freer than a pirate on a frigate out to sea. Thank God I'm free because it's hard enough to take care of me, Kid Creole. Hey, that's deep, man. What? Come on, man. Come on, dude. Not happening. Say, hey, well, that's what guys are getting. And I think here's the thing about it. The word pre-owned. We don't want to give power to something that has been overvalued in this society. I think the problem is Western culture and this society and how we boost the value of things. And I blame a lot of the dudes too, because a lot of these dudes walking around, especially old dudes, where they're flexing and measuring masculinity by one's ability to acquire heavily used, worn out, vigorously and viciously pounded out pre-owned box. And I could never get that. I never could understand it as a mature man, middle-aged man. Like, his dude gets in an argument with some dude, he's like, well, I slept with a bunch of women. Like, how old are you, man? It's crazy, man. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why is that a measure of your masculinity? Not like, I am the best engineer in the county, or I'm the best carpenter. I'm the best at building transmission. What about you? You suck. Like, that would be like something I'd be like, whoa, this dude really is a great carpenter. You know, I'd be like, but this dude's bragging about the ability to get pre-owned box. If you travel the world and you understand how cheap pre-owned is, you would never brag about that. You would never. If you travel the world and you see the price of access is so damn low, you would never brag about pre-owned again. Never. Your eyes would be like opened up. You'd be like, you would never brag about that shit again. He said, I'm 53 years old, never been married in the UK, acting so promiscuous as they do, acting like wild animals with other men in the UK pubs while their husbands. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy nowadays, man. You know? Yeah, it's just really grifters. It really comes down to buy my course, sign up for my program, get on my Patreon. It really comes down to that. And I think it's men's natural biology and their hormones. They know you want pre-owned. We all want pre-owned. I like pre-owned. But in this society, pre-owned has been, well, I can't be honest with you. Depends on certain types of men, but it's been undervalued and overvalued at the same time. And make that make sense. But the point is to try and use that to draw a dude in to get a course or a program. And after you watch that program and listen to that shit, and you take that out in the real world, and you try and apply that strategy in the real world, you didn't bought some nerd's pickup game program or some goofy shit, and you apply that in the real world based upon the real culture that runs on delusion nowadays, and you get cooked, ate up. Because the majority of you see now is pay for play and, you know, pretty outright prostitution, to be honest with you. So you're trying to game a prostitute that's selling box? You're crazy. Why? That's what they're basically doing, selling and sleeping with the dudes that arouse them. And for the other dudes, the other 95% of the dudes, they're selling. You have to pay them money to get access to them. That's what they do to the dudes that are not attracted to. The dudes that they're not attracted to is pretty much prostitution. That's really what the system is. There's really no need to buy a dating and relationship course for that. You're either part of the guy that she wants or you're a John. There's really no, what am I going to sell you? How to figure out how to be a John? Like, what are you doing? Chick don't like you. Because if she liked you, you wouldn't have to work so hard. It's really, you're working so hard because she doesn't like you. You're spitting all this game because she don't like your ass. That's why. Women that like you actually help you. Yeah. Yeah, you trying to convince women who don't like you to like you, and women that are selling box, maybe you're trying to talk them out of it when they have a set price for access. Okay, 2 dates and this and that, you know. And what are you trying to game her out of? You know, and then that's really what it comes down to. You know, either you're going to be a guy that can drive straight through the front door because of the way you look and the way you move, and you're a part of what she chooses, or you're going to be a guy that's going to have to pay for access. And that guy who can drive right through the door still has to pay for access. He just pays on the emotional, psychological level. He just pays for, you know, getting the cops called on him or some shit, or some domestics. Or so like that one post I put in my Facebook post where the chick broke into the dude's house. And I got another story with it, like the dude, like the one chick deleted the girlfriend of the dude, the new girlfriend for the dude. She deleted him. I was going to do a video on that, but deleted her. So there's no free ride with anything, but you know, it's what it is. You know, it's just the way it is. But whether they do, that's going on. You know, they don't have to legalize it, but if all these women are talking about, that's what it is. Everything is monetized, from marriage to dating to what they think they should be paid and how much money you should make to be with them and how you need to be talking to them. That's prostitution. If a woman is going to marry a man that she has no attraction for, what is she doing it for? Money. So she's selling herself for a marriage. It's prostitution. I mean, nowadays, especially when women can go make their own money. I mean, what else are they talking about? That's all they're talking about is money. All these women are talking about is money. What else do they talk about? They're not talking about character. Hey, salute to you, man. Wicked Witch of the West. $2 super chat. Saving some lives out here, brother. Appreciate, man, the $2 super chat. But I just don't hear any conversations about anything of substance, of virtues and values and character. And, you know, what I hear about is money. And that's often the missing ingredient. Because by the time women get to their 30s or whatever else, they've already met multiple men that they like and enjoy. What they're missing is money. And what they're missing is a retirement plan to sponsor. They certainly, I mean, they probably haven't saved any money. Or if they have a house, that thing is probably in disrepair and they're struggling every month to make that mortgage payment. They're afraid of losing their job, and they're in the church right now, and they're looking for them a good old jellyback simp to walk through that door one day with a superhero cape. Because if you talk to certain women out here in the community, first of all, if you're living in Western culture, the women are not, they're only compete for a certain percentage of men. That other percentage of men, they're not, shoot. They want that man to come, worship the ground that they walk on. Now, if he walks up in the church, now, today, and let's say he has a good, solid job and he looks decent, where he can get past the the sisterhood group or group of women, and he looks like he has good benefits and good 401k and retirement plan, and he looks healthy enough to sleep with. And now that guy, nowadays with the economy and with inflation, they want to sign that brother up. They want to sign that guy up fast now because they just want the money. You know, and really, I mean, you know, it's a security thing. So inevitably, whether they legalize it or not, you know, they're still taking part, you know, in prostitution, to be honest with you. You know, whether it be legal or illegal, they're still doing it. And that's what people don't really want to say, you know, like, because that's what's happening over here. That's what's going on. And I think that in any system where you delay a situation where, you know, obviously there's a time period where people got together when they were young and they built a life together. That doesn't exist anymore. In fact, they're looking for men that are already established and ready made in terms of trying to secure money for marriage. Now, there's another problem that's on the horizon, which is the great divorce. And I think a lot of that's inspired by social media and friends and people that think, or women that think that they've been made to believe that there's something out here that's better for them. And after a certain amount of years of marriage, they want to test their skills on the market. And I think about it, right? What was it? I think I had like a woman divorced her husband after 20-something years, and she's getting pounded out like crazy, right? And she wants to, like, I'm a wife. Hey, salute to G. Allison. I don't want to say your name, man. Appreciate the $5 Cash App. Appreciate it, man. I don't want to say your full government name, but G. Allison, my brother. Just, you know, say G. You know, I don't know if you want me to put your full government out there. But salute to you, man. You know how people get crazy when they, you know, we got our jobs to protect. Me. Find that clip. It was an interesting clip. But she left her husband, and she's out here now dating, and she's discovering that whenever they were selling her, this is the clip right here. It's funny because this was happening in the culture a lot. They're divorcing. Hey, salute. They're divorcing. The great divorce is the biggest problem in society right now. I'll give you an example, right? This is an example of what's going on and what's happening in society.
I'm frustrated today.
Talk to us.
Cause y'all, why y'all be setting me up for failure? Why ain't nobody tell me how difficult it was gonna be going from a wife to a single woman? Y'all, swear to God, I'm dying out here. I'm dying. SOS. Man, y'all, I need help. Like, I don't get it. I'm stuck. Like, man, once you've been a wife, it is damn near impossible.
See, now look, this is one of them situations, right? I don't know the total situation. I don't know whether she's a widow or whatever else. But what's happening a lot of times is because of social media. And she looked like a woman that still has a decent shape, even though she's an older woman. These simps get in these DMs and start gassing these women up, and they start getting the big head, and they start getting the praises, and they start getting the worships, and they start thinking to themselves, they start looking at their husband and say, you know what? You ain't shit. I could do better than you. And their friends is be encouraging them and everything else, right? Exactly. If a woman wants to leave, don't fight her. That's good. But the point I'm trying to make is this. They get out here now on the dating and relationship market and they discover ain't nothing out here but sausage. I'm glad they're leaving these men. The problem is they take all the money, though. That's the problem. You know, leave is one thing. Don't take the money. You know, you need the money. Just leave and don't take all the money. But she's out here experiencing the world. Let's hear what she has to say.
Possible to morph back into a girlfriend. Baby, I'm a wife. When I go in at 100. I don't know how to pretend like I like you a little bit when I know I like you a lot. You know, and a lot of people be like, oh, that's too aggressive to tell a guy this. Why you when I know I do? And hell, I want to know that you like me at the same capacity.
Right.
Because if you don't, what we here for? What we doing? We just wasted each other time. Y'all, I'm not that person. I can't pretend like, you know, oh, I only like him a little bit. Or why are we pretending at all? We three? Like, I'm trying to figure out if you for me and I'm for you. You know, because if not, can you please move over? Because I want him right there, the one that's for me, who gonna be my forever person. And if that ain't you, and you don't want to participate in the process of me finding out if that's you, then you wasting my time. You wasting your time. Y'all, I can't get it. This ain't working for me. Like, I ain't supposed to be nobody girlfriend, pretending like I like you and then waiting a little bit to respond back to your messages when I know I want to respond right back. And I want to check on.
I'm sorry, guys. I got to say this. This woman is 1,000 years old like me. Ain't nobody taking her. When she washes all that fake up off her body, like, this is how we look as men. The woman's 1,000 years old like me. You wash that fake up off her body. She's talking like she's 21 years old. I don't know who lied to this woman and told her somebody's going to be romancing her and dating her like she's a 22-year-old. This is Granny. Because I'm like grandpa age about now. This is Granny talking to us. Come on, man. This is why I told you that bullshit. Let's continue on.
You, and I want you to check on me, and I want to be up under you, smelling you, your scent on my clothes and mine on yours, and I gotta pretend like I don't like you. Where y'all get the scripts from? Like how y'all know? Like I don't even know what to do or how to do it right. Like I give up. I ain't.
Man, look. Whoever the dudes are who pounded this woman, you guys is wrong for pounding this woman like that and left and abandoning her. These guys are pounding her viciously. This is a woman that's been viciously and vigorously pounded and abandoned in the bed. She's like, where you going? I gotta go. I gotta go to work tomorrow. That's what's happened to her. She's like, aren't you going to at least give me a hug? You know, the dude probably washes his meat in the sink and leaves. And she had a husband. I don't know what happened with her man. I don't know if she's a widow or anything like that. But I'm saying, you know, she's getting a taste of the pound and pass reality of the real world out here in the streets. It's just crazy. But yeah, you dudes is wrong, man. You shouldn't do it like this. You guys, dudes is throwing assists with her and shit, pounding her and throwing her over the shoulder, behind the back. Next guy in line comes and pounds her out, and he does it, passes the ball for the assist. And now she's like, hell no, this is whack. She's probably going to spin the block on her ex-husband and pretty shortly, if he's alive or whatever else. He's going to say, hell no, this is for the birds. Yeah. Yeah. They get out here and they say, well, where's all the panderers and simps that was in my DM? You dudes is full of crap. All y'all did is pound me and pass me. And the one guy's in my DM, I saw him in life and he was terrible, hideous looking. So that's what's happening to these women out here that get these great divorces.
I ain't no girlfriend, man. I'm a wife. I'm a wife, man. Forget it. Forget it.
Sounds and you know, I don't know how this marriage ended, but it sounds like you should have stayed with your husband, man. When I hear that a woman who's been married for a long time, I'm not talking about these 2-3 year marriages where they're like, oof, man, that was crazy, and they weren't actually ready for the marriage. No, I'm talking about somebody who's been married for a while. And I see the excitement, because I see it all the time. I see the videos. The excitement of them looking at the dating market like it's just a pool of options. I laugh a little inside. I laugh because they have no idea. It's a mess out here. And sure, you can get online and complain. And this is not just, you know, her. I'm talking about anybody else who's going through this. The reality is it's a mess. Everybody's dealing with the struggle and the difficulty within the dating market. You're not the only one. Welcome. Welcome. And to anybody who's watching this and you're thinking of leaving your marriage and you haven't tried your best to work things through, just know that there's some suffering waiting for you out here. I'm not being too negative. No. It is a negative experience in most cases to be out here and dating. I remember before I even got married, I got to the point where I said to myself, and this wasn't that long ago because I haven't been married for that long, right? I got to the point where I said to myself, you know what? After you have a few serious relationships, you sit down and you think to yourself, is that heartbreak you go through after a serious relationship? I'm not talking about.
So basically, these dudes is out here treating this lady like she's a basketball or something. You dudes is out here treating this woman like she's she's getting treated like a basketball. Dudes is running fast breaks with her, tossing alley hoops with her from half court. She's getting dunked. She's getting passed behind the backs. Dudes is she's getting blocked. You know, dudes is finger rolling her and shit. You know, dropping her and what's his name? George Gervin in her ass and shit. Sky hooking her like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And ain't nobody's committing. So, just get the basketball experience. That's what she signed up for. When you get out here on the Serengeti, what do you expect to happen out here on the Serengeti? This is the pounding Serengeti. Ain't nobody trying to get with you. Like, well, a dudes that you want ain't trying to get with you. He's like, bounce pass. What's worse is these young bucks. The young bucks be talking about a peaceful life. Hey, I'm gonna pound out that old head over there, that old chick over there. She a nice body. You young dudes is terrible, man. Hey, dude be like 25. He pound out a 50-year-old and shit. Riz her up. You young dudes is terrible. Dudes running 3-man weave with her and shit. They running 3-man weave. They running 3-man weave with her ass. That's stupid. What's up, my brother? Salute to you, man. International Quiet. So he said, I'm glad peace is quiet. It's never done me wrong. I'm watching the food that's from the Chief Seas, right? I'm saying, like, remember when we used to run those 3-man weave drills with the ball and shit? Then they'll have us do like a 5-man weave and toss 2 balls in there. Back in the day, they doing that shit with her ass. And the coach get mad when you drop the ball. She left her marriage to become a basketball. What the hell? Who does that shit? And then she's mad because dudes won't commit? Hell no, they ain't gonna commit to your old ass. You crazy? Nobody, no one's doing that shit. And the young bucks, and I tried to explain to these ladies about roadkill. Young people will eat roadkill, fresh kill, roadkill that just dropped off the back of a marriage truck. It just dropped off the back of a marriage truck. And these young bucks be like this. Let me check it out. You know, it's still twitching on the ground. She still got body. And these young bucks would be like, you know, yo, I got that old head last night. She still got body. She's sexy. And then, I was like, you going back for more? Hell no. like a Spalding, Wilson and shit. Oh man. I mean, just leaving. Like, remember those we have those point guards that leave that ball in the air for, like, he's on a fast break and he just leaves it in the air. Remember when who was good for that? The LA Clippers. You know, the LA Clippers was bad for that when they had DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin was young. And they would just be tossing alley hoops out the world, man. That's what they did with this woman. You know, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp shit. and she can't take it. She can't take being pounded and passed like that. But she was married. It's going to be a cold day in hell before she gets back into a marriage. Lob City. There you go. They done done Lob City on her ass. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I used to be a dude who used to catch them dunks back in the day. I can't touch the rim to save my life now, my old ass knees. But back in the day, I'd be able to get up off the ground. I can't get up off the man. I look at the rim now, I'm like, you know, I can't touch that damn rim. But, you know, these women are coming out here and getting treated like basketballs, man. That's the problem. They thought that it was going to be easy out here. It ain't easy out here. I'm this big male lion. We belong out. We're male lions. We belong out here in the Serengeti. Yeah, this is where we belong. Her? You can forget it. Oh, yeah, you say, look at him. He's a pounder too. There he is. Yes, yeah, seeing these fine-ass cougars, some are in better shape than the 20-year-olds. But you ain't committed. You pounding and you passing. As soon as you see one varicose vein, your ass is out. Yeah. They don't know that. You see one bulging varicose after you got post-nut clarity and you didn't checked out, huh? Yeah, you pound it. You lay in the bed with her. You look over. You look at the back of that knee or that calf, and you see you a varicose. And you get up and run in the bathroom and wash out your meat and leg, right? That's what I know. I know you. You see a varicose and you wash your meat and you leave. They don't understand how men think, right? oh no. You see one stretch mark. The stretch mark down the side, or that baby belly, where they had baby and they had like a cesarean, or that baby underbelly. And your ass run out of there. He's like, man, you know, that old head was good, but man, I can't stick around for that. You know, just hopefully you don't fall into an ocean too. You'll never know. There's a reason why, you know. But hey, look, on a late Friday night at 11, some dudes will go for roadkill. You know. His stomach looked like some balls over. And what's the worst is, like, you know, obviously there's some dudes in here that maybe used to knock off the old heads back in the day when they were younger. You know, knocking off old heads, old women like this is not a new thing. There was this easy picking on a late Friday night because they're delusional. They don't understand their roadkill. They think they're still hot. You riz them up. And they think that, woo, that young buck is really into me. They don't understand that, man, look, this dude's got some backed up testosterone. And the young chick he was trying to hit earlier, she acting up. But again, you're not saying dirty water will put out a fire. And the last pick of the draft sometimes is better than no pick. And she don't understand. And you either go in the forest and chase down that wild game, or there's roadkill that just got hit and laying on the side of the road. And young men will eat roadkill. I've been there. We've all eaten it. Delicious, fresh roadkill. Like I was talking about that, like that Tracy Ellis Ross type body, or one of these other women. The young men will consume that roadkill. Young men will eat roadkill. That's a lot of testosterone. Women don't understand the amount of testosterone that's going through a young man's body. And you see some old salt and pepper chick sitting at the bar at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and you like looking at your watch like this. Holy shit. I got to grab something before midnight. And you go over there and rizz her up and shit. What are you drinking, beautiful? You almost got guarantees that night. You walk up to her and stuff, you all young. You're like, what are you drinking, beautiful? Can I buy you a drink tonight? You're taking her old ass home. you know you're taking her home. She done got, wow, maybe what they say on social media is true. Maybe I do look like I'm 22. Look at this young man talking to me. You don't understand that this dude's balls is throbbing. He's just trying to hit. He's like, oh man, I got to give me something. And they don't understand that. That biologically there's a lot of motivation, He said, Rizzo up, get the PS5. The problem is, can you sustain it long enough? Like she might want you to come there 2-3 times or something before you get the PS5. And you already saw that bulging varicose vein. The question is, can you go back after you've seen it? Now that you're running on empty, you've unloaded already. The thrill is gone. Can you build in? Maybe if you wait a week, you can build back up and go back over there, because now you're like, damn, I got to get me something young. Can you go back over there? You go in her house, she got all these old potions in there and shit. She got cod liver oil and Johnson & Johnson formulas and shit. She got arthritis pill in the bathroom and shit, carpal tunnel shit. No, I'm just joking, man. Can you know what I mean? She got her blood pressure medicine in there and stuff. You just pounded out a woman that's got blood pressure problems. She got her pre-diabetic medication. You just pounded out a woman with pre-diabetes. How can you live with yourself? And Walgreens, I was like, how you got to get out of there? You like, oh man, this is not good. This is failure. At least the young women with the old man, they can justify it with some money. But young man with old woman, man, it's like all it takes is one side of that medicine cabinet, and that, or a varicose vein, or out of place stretch mark, or they may fall into an ocean and they ain't coming back. That's a whole other story. Yeah, it's crazy. But hey, let's hear her cry about the situation, this self-inflicted wound, the situation she's put herself in, and now she graduated from marriage and became a basketball. She graduated from marriage and became a basketball.
A fling or some person who you were just dating casually. No. Talking about a real relationship that lasted some time, maybe a year or 2 years, 3 years. You may get to know someone deeply. I got to the point where I thought to myself, is any of this worth it? And I'm talking about relationships. Are any of these serious relationships worth it if they aren't leading to a marriage? And it's because I valued marriage. And
let's move on, man. Let's see what you got to say.
And a marriage that's doing well.
I especially thank all y'all to a big old surprise. Woo! Y'all woke up to all them comments and all that traction to my video, and I was like, whoa. Okay. Y'all, initially, I'm not gonna lie. Look, I'm just a regular old person. Baby, ain't nothing special.
He said, stop the cap. He said, stop the cap. Ain't no you ain't gonna care about no stretch mark when the balls are blue. You know they don't. Not when they going in. It's when they wake up in the morning and they see that thing get up and walk to the shower. And they see all of the problems. It ain't just stretch mark. I was being nice. Post-nut clarity is a B. It ain't the night. It ain't in the act. It ain't when it's hot. It's in the morning is when they care about that shit. They be like, holy crap, what did I just do? And this old woman is talking about she's in love. It's the morning that's the problem. It's not the night.
Special about me. I just made that video for laughs and giggles.
Right.
I was bored yesterday and I said, you know what? Let me make a video about how crazy dating is right now after, divorced and being in your 40s, man. So I made it. But I did not expect it to get that much traction or that much attention. But nonetheless, I thank y'all so much for all the engagement. I especially thank all y'all for the positive, messages and the motivating messages. Thank y'all so much.
If they smart.
And the negative ones too. I'm not gonna lie. I learned from it all, y'all. This the internet. Okay.
If they gone, that'd be a smart. If an old woman is getting pounded out by young guys, keep it in the dark. And yes, they need to be gone by morning. Keep that room dark. Don't be shining no light. And let them dudes be gone that night. That'd be a smart move. They should be gone by morning if she's smart. You don't want, look here, young men in general, young or old, are attracted to young, fertile women. It's just nature. It's nature. It's nature. There's no worse PNC than a man who's just experienced something that's been aged and heavily used. Let's continue on.
Y'all don't know me. I don't know y'all. And I'm gonna tell.
At least she's grounded, right? You have chicks who come on here and be mad after they put something out into into the internet and be like, how dare you guys have an opinion on my public post?
Tell y'all that as well. Anything anybody says to you on the internet, y'all let that stuff roll off your shoulders. Let it go in one ear.
I'm sorry, man. You're making me. He said, keep the mystery and the ignorance alive. That's a smart way to do it, man. That's the only way you can do it. Keep that shit in the dark room and leave at night. You know what I mean? You say she's trying to clean it up now? Yep, absolutely. 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 Because I don't know. I can't see her. I should follow her. She's probably one of them older chick my age that still got body. And because she's still got a little bit of body, she's gotten a lot of the men big their head up because, everybody online, she doesn't understand the difference between attention because a dude is horny and he wants to pound and actual real interest in terms of the man that she wants to be with her long term. So I think women get confused because of social media. Some women, not all, that the men are just reacting to, you put a video up with a thirsty a body, the dude's just horny. Okay, I'm stop giving it away. I'm not trying to get in the way of the pounding. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I ain't trying to help them. I'm not trying to help them, man. Let me quit. I'm not trying to help the ladies. The men I talk to for free, the ladies gonna have to pay me. I ain't helping them. They have too many advantages. You're born with a biological advantage. I'm not helping these women. Them women gonna have to pay me. Yeah. I'll start a Patreon for the women. You know, you guys I'll talk to for free. Just make sure you leave a super chat every once in a while to pay for the StreamYard and stuff. But other than that, they're gonna have to pay me on some Patreon or something. The women, I ain't helping them. They got Derrick Jackson been lying to them all their life. They can go ahead and go back to Derrick Jackson's channel. But yeah, shoot. Come that night, leave that night. Do not wake up in the morning with these old head women. You will hurt your feelings.
And not the other. Y'all don't know them people and they don't know you. So y'all don't let that affect y'all. But I have thick skin. I'm little pride military, so you know it don't bother me.
Right.
But nah, you know, it don't bother me, baby, because that's your opinion, you know, and your opinion, everyone's opinions is based off of their personal experiences, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me or to do with you, y'all. So let that stuff go. But anyway, another thing, front face camera, boom, boom, boom. This ring is on my right hand. When you're using a front face camera, everything is mirrored. That is on my right hand. Got it? All right, cool. All right. Number 2, y'all, I left my relationship because I had to, not because I wanted to.
Okay.
If you talk to anyone that knows me on a personal basis, they will tell you that I am a fighter. I am one that does not give up. And that's probably why I've had so many issues with my relationships, because people look at me and they see my heart far before they see me. They know she ain't going nowhere. She's a fighter. She gonna stay. And guess what? Unfortunately, I am. But I don't look at that as a bad thing, because baby, when I find that other fighter,
Okay, so she did leave. Interesting. Isn't it funny how I was asking those questions? I didn't expect for her to have this whole 3-part series. Chisha, are you gonna make us go through this? I'm kind of curious.
you need. I'm frustrated today.
Talk to us.
Because in-depth details of my
How many times you guys seen it?
Tell you, but I will tell you that.
Okay, so we have just an older woman with body. That's all. She's older. She's probably got a nice body. I was curious to go to her page and see what she's working with, because you know, obviously she's the perfect Wilson or Spalding ball for the pass for the game. She's the perfect Spalding or Wilson ball for the game if she's got a decent body on her. You know, like I said, sometimes on a late Friday night, you can rizz up one of these old bras. These young guys rizz them up and put the fire out for a night. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, man. You said I like my women. You know, you like my women competitive. Not do it. You better leave matriarchal culture alone. Then, if you want women that were raised to take care of their men, that is defined by culture. The culture tells them, like their mama and their grandmom and the aunties and stuff like that, that preach take care of your man who takes care of you. Unless you're dealing with that type of culture, if you're dealing with matriarchal women and you expect to be taken care of, good luck. If you see what happens in the hyena clan, how they treat the male. You need some culture behind you. Make sure that woman has real culture behind her. That way you know there's clear defining rules that's controlled by culture of how you're supposed to be treated as a man. Not her feelings, not her emotions. Like she knows if she's not taking care of you in the bedroom or taking care of you at home, there would be shame come to her. And it's easier too for the guys overseas, because I'm gonna tell you how it is in Asia, in some parts of Asia. Women know better than to not take care of good men in certain countries. You know why? Because there's 10 other women around the block waiting to steal her man. Because they're not government empowered. That's why you see some of these men in some of these countries, some of these countries get taken care of so well. Especially some of these Spanish countries, with these patriarchal type country, because they know there's 10 women around the block waiting to steal that man. Because again, that man is a good provider. He's a solid dude with good character. And sometimes that's all it takes to keep somebody in line, is there's another option right over there. And unfortunately, that's not here in this culture. But anyhow, with that being said, guys, make sure you hit the like. The guys came in here to support the channel today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. 5 people came in here and support the channel. Supported the stream. Appreciate it. If you guys want to support the stream, please do. Let me make sure I put stars next to these. Star. Acknowledge these people's support. And I appreciate all you guys who come to the channel, always supporting the channel. Yeah, but you make sure how you're treated is defined by culture. Not just no feelings, culture. Culture matters. And systems matter. Systems and culture, not just, this emotional thing. Yeah, that's true. And again, yeah, only in this environment. But I think that the thing with a lot of guys, if they, you got to be careful too, because again, you have to be in certain environments and blending into a system or society or an environment where there are people who think a certain way. That takes time. It takes effort, because you don't want to be exposed to low-hanging fruit, which is the first thing that's being offered to you. It's easy to grab low-hanging fruit, but the things that are valuable long-term, you have to blend into an environment to really have access to those things. But that's a whole different conversation. With that being said, guys, hit the like button, and I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, supporting the content. I'm about to check out of here, guys. Peace and blessings to you guys. Salute. I am out.